What is going on, guys? Ryan here with another episode of the Dent Digest live show, episode number 63. It's pretty crazy, 63 episodes. I've been enjoying it. It's been good. Even with the quarantine, it's been fun and kind of enjoying just doing the show every week and getting different guys' perspective every week and going through. Last week we had Zan. I just love that guy. He's just a really nice, true PDR, passionate guy out there and put out a great product with his gloves. I hope you guys, really looked into those and, bought some. I mean, they are just fabulous gloves and just a great family to deal with. And he's really trying to grow his business over there. And it's nice to see, his YouTube channel. He's been pumping some videos and some of them are really funny. And I watched a few earlier in the week and I was like, man, he's really good at this. He's got a little bit of a language barrier, but he's really clear explaining what he's trying to do. So, I love that guy. He's great, and I'm going to try to get some more of the international guys. I've got a couple guys scheduled coming up from different countries and get a different perspective for you guys. But I've got a buddy of mine that I met a couple years ago. I think we met at the MTE, and then I ran into him at the Hail Expo and a couple MTEs, and him and his buddy Jesse. And I just really enjoy every time I see him. They're welcoming, and we just have really good conversations. So, it's just genuine, good, positive conversations, and I wanted to get him on. So let's get Mr. Joey on, Mr. PDR. What's up, Joey?
What's going on, everybody? Ryan, what's up, man?
What's good over there? Anything?
Oh, just coming out of a long day. Jumped in the shower at the hotel, put on a collar shirt, as you can see, and now I'm
I got all
sitting
dressed
down,
up,
joining in on the Dent Digest. Well, I got shorts and sandals underneath, but no one gets anything like that.
He's got that secret conference call dress up.
Yeah.
So you're down in Texas, right?
I'm in Texas, yeah. Not only did I move here, but I'm also, that's right, Danny, Mr. Texas now. I'm also working here in Texas, which is one of the benefits, especially this season. I mean, there's been so much different cities devastated with hail pretty much all over this state.
Besides Maryland.
I'm
just waiting. We've had some gnarly storms, and I sat back here the other day. It was really bad. Blowing hard. And I went out front, and I'm in the grass, barefooted, and I'm just looking up at the sky, and I'm just looking around. And my neighbor's just standing there. He went out to get his mail, and he's just standing there looking at me. And I came back in, and I looked at Ashley, and I said, he thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey.
We do that from time to time. When we see that cloud coming in, we're like, ooh, this may be it,
Yes.
So
how far are you from home?
I'm 4.5 hours.
That's because Texas is massive.
It's huge, dude. It is huge.
I do have to give a shout out to James Lee right now. I forgot to do it last week. I had some defective lights and some lights, version 1, version 2 lights that were just beat. And I sent them in, and his guy, Michael, that works for him, is a rock star, man. They fixed all the lights, sent them back in record time, and did stuff to them that they really didn't have to do. But shout out to Dent and James Lee, man. I'll tell you that those guys over there, I love great companies in our industry.
That is true. James is a good dude. I just texted him not too long ago because my buddy who I'm working next to was like, man, I need a cart like yours. I said, well, you won't be able to get a cart like mine because I got mine all blacked out thanks to James, who was able to do that for me through his connection relationship with TDN. But I said, I could text him, see if he has any in stock. And he texted me right back. And he went online and he bought one. So he's just waiting for them to get shipped in. But yeah, Dent is definitely, they're the top guys right now with tools.
Yeah.
alongside of other guys. But James is a
We're
cool dude.
I say this all the time, man. In our industry, we are just truly blessed in, you know, the customer service that we get. You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot of industries that are not like this. They're really not. So if you break your
very
stuff,
true.
and we're all hard, dude. Like we are not easy on our tools.
No, well, I am. I baby my tools.
Well, you know,
I clean them every day.
do you really?
No, I don't.
The guy in
I
sandals.
I do I do put them back in order though, because then it allows me to know if I lost anything.
True that. So let's get into your story. When did you get started? Who trained you? How did you get into the business? And keep rolling from there.
Yeah. So what's this? 2020. I would say 11, 10, 9. 2009. I was trained. I was trained through one of my best friends who got exposed to the industry from a Dent Wizard graduate.
Okay.
And him and his dad has a body shop. This is Jesse. Him and his father had a body shop at the time, and used to always get this guy to come and knock out their dents. And he trained him, and then from him training them, I was exposed, and I was just like, man, this is a cool little niche. I think I could do this, and uh, started working with that company, doing service drives for Mercedes and BMW, and then we branched out and did our own thing. And then from doing our own thing, it hailed in our backyard back in 2011. And that was just the game changer. I saw the circus come into our backyard. We could not understand how this was possible. I didn't even know this existed, you know.
Yeah.
And it was such an adventure at first because we just couldn't believe that all hundreds of these dents were going to be removed, you know. And it was just the start of a new beginning in our chapter. And that's it. I've been on the Halo Trail since. So that makes 12 was our first journey outside of New York, and that was straight to St. Louis, Missouri. That was a huge storm, and it was rock and roll from there, man. Meeting
And
different
Jesse's
people.
parents are still doing stuff, correct?
Yeah. So then Jesse trained his father. His father jumped on board, and then um, his wife jumped on board, and now they're a tag team duet, and they're pretty good. They're solid
Yeah.
team. They're actually they're working in Texas too. So yeah, the whole family jumped on. Then our other best friend Jose, we both got trained same time, and we just been running around together since.
Yeah. Every time I'd see you guys somewhere, it would be all three of you guys running around.
Yeah,
You
the three
know.
amigos, the triple J's.
And Jesse's. Don't worry, Jesse. You're going to be on here too. So get those jitters out. You're
Yeah,
coming. And that I'll tell
you
you,
got to put them on.
we talked on the phone like right as this quarantine thing started, and I mean, we talked for at least an hour. You know what I mean? And just different ideas and stuff that we both were working on, and another solid dude. Like I said before, both of you guys, when we first met, I mean, we would just talk. We were at the Hail Expo talking for a couple
Yep.
times, a couple hours. So
Well, it was good to meet other technicians from the Northeast because you
Yeah.
don't really uh, bump into many of them, you know. It's very unique to kind of meet somebody else like you can kind of relate. Like you're from the Northeast, that's awesome, you know. Because you're always venturing out west or south, and you don't really meet too many technicians. But
So in New York,
yeah.
were you mainly Hail, or were you doing the
Nope.
drive-ins?
I was just doing service drives. I didn't have many body shops. The market back in New York where we were from, it's down to the bottom dollar. Didn't have too much success with that, and was just generated most of my income just through that company that I was employed by, and then ventured out and just said to myself, we're gonna open up shop and run Mr. PDR.
Nice.
Chasing him underneath Mr. PDR, and thank God I've been successful since.
Well, I think a lot of it's you've positioned yourself and built those networks with the right people. I remember you called me last year, or was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
You were
2 years
in
ago.
my backyard, just kind of
Mm-hmm.
waiting for some stuff that was supposed to come. And we
Mm-hmm.
got some mild hail, but nothing that was anything great. You were like, "Hey, let me know." We talked every day, for
Yep. Yep.
a while. So, um, and you've positioned yourself with the right people to where you have those networking relationships to where if the shit does hit the fan, you're off because you trust them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know,
Absolutely. And I love to. I thrive mostly helping local guys. That's usually
yeah.
what I love to do. I know that sometimes local guys have their own uh, daily, from their accounts, and hail usually is just an overwhelmed part of the picture. I like to be that guy that comes and say, "Hey, look, you can trust me. I can help you, and I'll make you a lot of money." Um,
And you worked some gnarly stuff. Was that Northern Pennsylvania? Was that last year when you were in like that back of that body shop and you were there for a while?
so it looked like a body shop, but it was upstate New York. I rented
Okay. Like a
it was in the
barn?
middle of, it was a barn. Yeah, it was a cold storage of the owner's best friend who was multi-millionaire. He had so much agriculture, farm, and everything going on up there. So I rented his shop, was able to put like 5, 6 cars in there, and that was pretty unique. But yeah, that storm was, baseball size,
Bro, that
and
stuff
it was
was
just,
terrible.
yeah, and I took it on because it was only two-ish hours away from home. So I said, you know what, this is a no-brainer. I don't need to rush through this. I can fix this. Yeah, it'll take time, but and we did pretty good, man. We I think we kicked one roof out of 110 cars that we did for him.
Was it a lot of push to paint?
One push to paint, one kick roof, everything else fully PDR'd. Maybe like 3 or 4 hoods just because of dimes and cents. It paid just to replace it, then putting my numbers on it and assurance not approving it.
Now, I've got a question, and I'm sure a lot of guys in here, because it seems like it's a hot topic. If you're doing hail constantly, how important is the power PDR box?
I mean, my power PDR box is in my truck. I roll with it everywhere because you just never know what storm you're going to roll up on and what kind of damage, and you want to be prepared. I like to be prepared. If I don't have to use it, it's a win because that means you're not working on that kind of meatloaf.
Yeah.
But if you have it, it's a great asset because I think a lot more technicians are starting to jump on it because they see the benefit of it. But sometimes you'll be that only tech with it, and other technicians got to use it because they don't have it. And now they just had the generation 2. I think it's smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the big one. I mean, I actually want to get the smaller one just because it looks
Packing.
unique, and yeah, it's definitely very, very how do you call that? Um, yeah, very compact. The one I have is big, and I have it in the small SKB box, and it's super heavy.
Yeah. Now, what tools are you using? What is your go-to 5 tools? If you have to pick 5 tools off your cart, what is you've got to have?
Um, right now, on my card, I changed up my Manny's saying good question. That is a good question. I have Pinky from Dentcraft, the paddle tool. That is just the money maker. Um, my second setup right now I'm using is the A1 tools, the ratchet handles, all the different sizes. Those are aluminum killers. I use that on a lot of stuff. I use that on hoods. I use that on quarter panels. I even use it on fenders. Um,
Hey, I've got one too in my truck. So,
fork tool. I still use Big Bertha to take out dents on the roof. I do use the wood for tight access roofs.
okay.
I have a sharp tip from Drew's Tools, and then I have a soft tip on the opposite side. That's how I keep my hail rods. And then I have the Carbon Tech, the long one for the big roofs. Same setup, sharp tip, soft tip on the other side. Let me see. Yeah, that's 4-ish tools. Another hand tool that I like to use would be a Ultra tool. It's a purple handle. I don't remember, but it has a unique, like triple bend. I use
Yes.
that on beds. I use that on fenders. It's short. It's stout. It's very strong. I got about 40 pieces on my 46 pieces on my tool cart, and I think I use about 35 of them all the time.
Now,
The other ones are kind of floating there when I need it. It's there.
Yeah. What is your wish list? Is there something out there right now that you're like, that's got your eye?
I want to give Danny Espinal's tool a shot. I could see myself using that on the tight axis on the top of the doors.
Yeah, I just ordered one of those. I talked to Maria 2 days ago, and I was like, that tool looks really useful. The size, the way that it's bent.
The bends, and then being on a ratchet handle, I'm all about this ratchet handle movement. All my ratchet.
I think we lost his sound, it looks like, and his internet. See if he comes back. Doesn't look like it, so we'll get him back on. So, like I said, that tool from A1 definitely looks like a win. And there's a tool that I used this week on a fender of a Chevrolet, and it's this Stanliner sword. And I tell you, this thing was a lifesaver because it's shaved enough at the very end to get down inside that where that really, really tight edge of the fender is. And this thing had enough girth behind it to really make a difference. I got Joey coming back. What's up, buddy?
Sorry,
You had to put a quarter.
I received the call from my wife. Out of all people, I
Oh.
think she forgot that I was going live.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I was just talking to them about a tool that I used this week that I haven't used since MTE, was the Stanliner sword. And I used it on a Tahoe fender down where that really tight edge is, where you can just barely get inside there to get that edge. So it was a great tool, had enough butt behind it. So I'm going to go back to my original question. What is on your wish list?
Yeah, it would be that Danny Espinal hand tool. I think I could put that on my tool cart for sure. Joe, are you
a paddle? And you're rocking the Grimes
I got
paddle,
the paddle,
right?
yeah. And
Buddy.
I just put a rope. I just did a rope comfort grip on it, and then I taped it with a tennis racket tape on top, and it doesn't look as pretty, but it's perfect. It's so comfortable.
I love that
It gives
paddle.
you a little bit more cushion. Definitely is my favorite paddle. I put the knockdown right on it. So I guess the second gen Grimes paddle has two magnets and has a thicker cushion.
Yes.
I don't have that, and I need to get that because the second magnet is definitely helpful.
Does make all the difference.
Yep.
And it's a thicker leather.
Yes.
And I
like that setup in the bottom. You have a ball there. What is that?
This is something that's not out.
Oh, okay. All right.
I actually don't like it. I don't like the ball.
Okay. Would that be just tapping down or just extra grip?
I think it was extra grip.
Okay.
But I didn't like it. I just was too much for me. But I bounce in between this and the Dent Freaks paddle. The wood that he uses hits different, and it's just really, really hard. But it's what knockdowns heads are using. What tips are you using on your knockdown?
So right now I have the Drew's Tools carbon knockdown with the black tip on it.
And that fits inside the magnetic end?
It sticks just a bit out. That's why if I had the second magnet, I think it'll just grip it a little bit more. Because I like to throw it right in my back pocket wherever I'm moving around the car.
Yeah.
I just love that setup. It's right there in your back pocket. Take it right out, boop, 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 put it right back in. The paddle, I like it. It's dark gray. Got a good color on it.
And did you and Jesse buy I remember at MTE, you guys buy the Crown Jewel? Was that you and Jesse, or was it just Jesse? One of you guys bought it.
Maybe Jesse. No, I never bought a Crown Jewel. What is that?
The Endeavor Dent Tools with the rubber ends on either side.
Oh well, I have
Chad.
that for. Yep, I have that for the windows. Um,
Okay.
the
That
actual
the
bar.
bar hanger,
Yep,
the
the
hanger.
bar hanger. Yeah, that's. I got two of them actually. I love to have two on. So if there's two windows, I have them both there, so I don't have to open the doors. I just boop, or on each side of the car.
What's your go-to hail light?
You know what? I have not left Ultras, LED Slim HDs. I
Really?
just, yep,
Wow.
I got the Slim HD Ultra setup. I'm sorry, I got the Pro PDR um,
Chubby.
Slim HDs. No, I got the Slim HDs.
Okay.
I got two of them, Pro PDR, but I have them on Ultra stands.
Okay.
That's what it is. They're still ticking. I have them for some time now, so I haven't let them go.
And I'll tell you something. Dave Johnson from Dent Wizard. I mean, he's the one that got me in this industry. He lives 5 minutes from my house. And we were talking the other day, and he's like, man, he ended up getting the Get a Grip umbrella. And we were talking about umbrellas because it's been so hot and everybody's working outside. You know, you're really not working in the shops right now. And
Yeah.
he was like, man, I'll tell you, I've been using my Get a Grip claw. And he has a 36-inch chubby Pro PDR with the Never Loose on the end. And he says he's using
Okay.
the claw with the ball of the Never Loose and holding his hail light on the side of the car. And I was like, that is such a great idea.
Yeah, and that's one thing. And if Todd hears this, he's my boy. But I don't like the never loose because if you're doing side panels, I like to have my lights collapse straight. You got to do it like this, and
Yeah.
that could take up a lot of space. So if you're in a shop that doesn't have a lot of space, or if you have a chubby like Jesse, I'm always getting on him. I'm telling them, dude, sell those lights, get slim ones.
I love
It,
that
it
light,
just,
dude.
it just, I mean, listen, the chubby is an awesome light. I think if you're stationary, that's the light to go to, hands down. But if you're moving, I like to, you know, be
Yeah.
efficient, like Danny's saying. And the chubbies, I mean, they cover a lot of ground, which is nice.
I've
You
also
really don't
got
have
one
to
of
move the lights.
James Lee's lights that's still in the box because I don't have a stand for it yet. But,
Stand.
you know, that's a massive light too. You know, that thing is
Yeah, I
massive.
remember seeing it at Mobile Tech. That did look pretty nice. Yeah, I haven't
So
switched lights yet.
that's crazy. Hey, if it works, it works. And with
Yeah.
you traveling, you're driving most of the places. You're not really flying, correct?
No, yeah, just flying back and forth home, but driving with all my tools, yeah, and my truck. Have everything pretty much compact the way I like it.
Now, let's get into the family part of it. And that was one thing when we originally talked about bringing you on the show, it's like, yeah, let's get you on. And then I switched it up on Sunday and I was like, hey, I'm adding a topic to this. And I felt like it was a perfect topic for you because you seem to do a really good job. You know what I mean? You
Mm.
seem to really still keep the family involved. And how do you keep that balance? When you got into this, we all get out there and we're grinding and we're making money and we're like, man, we're so busy, and family sometimes falls to the wayside. How do you try to keep that balance and keep family involved and keep moving forward with it?
Yeah, that's a good question, Ryan. And first of all, thank you for encouraging me because sometimes, us as technicians, as business owners, subcontractors, whatever we consider ourselves, when we're out chasing hail, that's usually our main priority.
Yeah.
That's how we earn our income, right? Especially for those that have families and young ones. I think for me, when I first started, it was a different journey. It was the unknown. It was the abnorm. You don't go to work every day, come back home and see your family. You're coming back to a hotel,
Yeah.
eating dinner alone. You know, so what I did right away is that I tied myself with my best friends. That was my family. So my whole journey has been with my two best friends pretty much my whole career. That substituted my aloneness because when you're alone, your mind wanders, things happen,
Yeah.
you're not held accountable. But in the beginning, it was tough, even with friends, even with your best friend, because you're not home to manage, you're not home to instruct, you're not home to love. You could go down the list. My wife, hands down, has been an amazing pillar in our household because we have learned how to adapt when I'm away. When I leave, my wife's in control. She runs the fort. When I'm home, I step in. She allows my reign to take presence.
It's like
Sometimes it doesn't work that way.
it's
Yeah,
like military wise,
yeah. Like right now, she's home cleaning up the house because she knows I'm coming back home tomorrow night. But if I was home, that house would be clean every day. But she has a certain way that works for her, and then when I'm home, it works for me, and we had to learn how to mesh. But that could be hard because those spark arguments constantly.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I think the first 3 seasons of Chasing Hale, I had to really, swallow it and just say to myself, like, okay, this is what it's going to be like. Am I ready to do this? Is my wife ready to do this? Is my kids ready to do this? My firstborn was small. My secondborn was small. It was, all right, these kids are small. I want them to know their father. So I had to create a balance. I think that's the most important thing when you're chasing Hale, especially if you have children and you're married. You have to create a balance. If you have no balance, you're going to be making all this income and to enjoy it with who? I've met so
Exactly.
many guys, unfortunately, on this journey of PDR and Hale, that have lost their families, that have gotten
Yeah.
divorced because
So
they want to make a lot of money, and that's the temptation in our industry. If you set your cards right, you could make a lot of money, but at what cost? So I didn't want to jeopardize that cost. I wanted to create a balance and figure it out. Okay, if I got this balance right now with my family, I know all those other things can be added and I'll be all right. So I don't chase Hale all year. I right now I have like a 6 7 month cap. That's kind of like, all right, that's my go-to. Like I got to do as much as I can within that time frame. Now, given if there's a golden opportunity, I can extend it, or sometimes I shorten it. And then I try to recruit on my season off of just tools our way. I don't do no side work. I don't even look at my tools. I don't think about work. I'm just my dedications to my kids, my wife, my family, and just live it up. Enjoy all the hard work that I put in.
now,
And
Del,
even when I am working though, I don't disappear. My balance still is implemented of me traveling back home every 2 to 3 weeks.
okay, that's what I was going to ask. Now, I've never chased Hale, um, so I don't know, and some of these guys don't know. Do most guys, not just your crew, um, do most guys go home for a weekend or whatever, for whatever time you can go away, or do they just stay in there and grind it out?
I met a lot of guys that just stay there and grind it out. You know, I met guys that I had to say, dude, you should go home this weekend. Just to remind them, like, hey, listen, your wife and daughter is home. I mean, you've been out for 4 weeks. Go home. Um, it's a 50-50. You have guys that say, hey, no, this is what I got to do, and until I done, I go home. And then you have guys that are like, hey, I go home every other weekend. Every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every weekend if they're close to travel back and forth. Um, that was one of my perks of moving to Texas. If I could sustain and keep most of my networking and success close to home, I can travel back and forth.
Yeah,
Versus
and
coming from New York, it costs more. I got to jump on a plane, but
it's
I'll
time.
take the 4.5 hour drive back on a
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah. You said that, and your plan to go to Texas wasn't a last minute or a quick thing. You guys were working on that for a while, because I remember you were talking about it, and you were like,
Yeah,
this is our plan because I'll be closer to them.
hmm
And most of the work's there.
yeah. Most of the work is in our vicinity for sure. And the greatest thing is that my last 2 locations I've been working at, they driven out and came to hang out with me,
That's cool.
which is a good thing. versus when I'm in New York, they just can't drive 30 hours, 20 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you could, but I wouldn't want them to do that. My kids
No.
would drive my
No.
wife nuts if they're in the car traveling that long. But, 3 to 5 hour trip, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially on this side of town, which they've never really seen. Um, that just that's the icing on the cake.
And I think everybody's situation is different. I think, and I'm a true believer in this. If you're married in this business, you need to have a very strong wife and a
Hmm.
wife that supports you. You need to have that rock
Yeah.
that's there, because it gets very difficult. Our job isn't like an average job. You
No.
work while the work's there and go home when you can go home.
Yeah.
But like in your situation, what does that do for you? Does it re-energize you when you come back on Monday, or does it make you miss them more?
I think that's a good question. I get re-energized in different ways when I go back home, physically, mentally, emotionally. I don't miss them unless I haven't seen them in a while. But if I'm going back home every weekend or every other weekend, I usually just want to be back and show dad's presence in the household in the house. I think that's so vital, especially because there's a big difference when the father enters the home.
Of course.
You know, the the kids see that. They know daddy's out working, but daddy is coming back home and dad's home.
Yeah.
And then when I'm home, I also try to do as much as I can. I'm a squirrel, like my boys say it is. I like everything clean. I like everything in its place. So sometimes it can be stressful coming home because if I'm coming home just for 2, 3 days, sometimes I'm kind of going all over the place instead of yeah. And then my wife is like, I cleaned the house. Ain't that good enough for you? And I'm like, yeah, but you missed this. So it could go that way too. But it does help when you go back. You dive back into your nest, you recharge, and you're ready to conquer the world when you leave again. Sometimes you recharge, you need it back sooner, and sometimes you could go a little bit longer, and you're all right. Everybody's different.
How about your kids? How do they take it?
My youngest is 6 years old. That's our boy. My middle's 10, Ava Loren, and my oldest just turned 15. I think the oldest to understand what dad does, the nature of his business. My little one, he doesn't even understand why I have to work. And I
Yeah.
told him, I wish I had that answer. I wish I could hang out with you and play with your toys all day and not have to ever worry about working, but that's not the case, right? So, but I think the oldest two have learned to accept that this is the nature of our of way of living. Um, daddy's home on the off season for a couple months, sometimes several months. Before I left on the hill trail this year, 2020, I was home for 8 months. Sometimes that's a little too long. Sometimes they get annoyed at dad. So dad got to find something to do in the time that he's home for 8 months because that's also not norm for a man to be home every single day, Monday through Sunday for 8 months. I mean, you really
Yeah.
got to get something going to kind of make a balance when you're home too. But I think my kids have learned to accept it. Um, they're very supportive of it. They get it. My daughters are great. They'll send me text messages. In my luggage, I have 5 envelopes from my oldest for this hail season. I posted on my Instagram a little bit earlier in the season, but one is, hey, if you missed us, open me. If you're discouraged and angry, open me. If you need motivation, open me. If you miss mom, open me. So you got to have that connection, that relationship with your children too, because then they'll learn to understand, and they'll also play the role of, hey, we need to help dad,
Yeah.
not make dad feel bad every time he leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be tough. I mean, I can't imagine, certainly just imagine if it was your first season going out and like John Bideen, he's never hail chased and he's down there working with S, away from his kid and his wife. So it's got to be tough. And you know,
It's definitely mentally challenging too, especially for those that are deciding to chase hail and give it a shot, or just because your business right now, retail locally, your brick and mortars, because of COVID, you're probably listening. And you're like, man, it's a strong season in the hail industry. I'm gonna go chase.
there's a lot of guys.
It's a mental thing. It's all mental thing at the end of the day. It's whether if you're gonna, it's either gonna make you or break you, and you got to learn how to implement a balance. If there's no balance, it's like buying a motorcycle. If your wife ain't on board with buying your motorcycle, it's gonna be hell every
Yes.
time you want to go ride.
Yes. Yes. So true.
So if your wife is on board and she's like, hey, awesome, kudos, that's amazing, I'm so happy for you. You know you're gonna go ride in peace. You're not
Yeah.
gonna ride in the back ahead and your
Yeah.
cell phone ringing off the hook like, where are you? You know?
You sit back and you're like, is it really worth it? I don't know if it's
Yeah.
worth it. So, what do you struggle with when the season starts? So when you know that hail's coming and you're getting prepared, because you guys prepare before, what do you struggle with mentally? I got some
I
good
think
ones, so I'm glad you're sitting down with your arms crossed because I got some good questions for you.
that's a good question. I think when the season starts, everybody's season starts differently. Some start right on the first storm. Some start 5 storms in. I think for me, the first few storms, I kind of dab at it. I investigate. I dig a little deeper, kind of figure out if it's worth it, if it's not worth it. I think ultimately is having um, multiple options when the season kicks off. That's my biggest um, problem. Not problem. It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. I wish I had 5, 10 more Mr. PDRs, to be honest with you,
I feel you,
because
man.
then
I'll tell you.
you, that's really what it comes down to. So I think for me personally, when I'm out and the season starts and there's 3, 4 different options that are solid, it's hard to make a decision because you just never know. You never know if that's going to be the best spot. If it's so that kind of plays a big mind game with me personally. When the season starts, picking a city, a thriving city, a city that economy is doing well, that's usually a big key factor to my decision making when you talk about a storm.
Yeah.
Um, whether if you're setting up for yourself or you're working for a buddy or you're working for a company, um, those things play big factors depending if it's wholesale, if it's retail, if it's body shop.
Now I've got a question here. I don't want to lose. Straight Lines is asking, how long does it take you to do a hail car by yourself? Say 150 dents, golf ball size, hood, roof, trunk, and rails.
Um, that's a good question.
150 dents, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, I just did a Dodge Ram roof today, and that had 150 dents just on the back quarter of the roof, not the whole
30
roof.
minutes.
So, um, John, 30 minutes. My goal is to always try to complete a car in a day, whether if
Yeah.
it's a 12-hour day, 13-hour day, 10-hour day. My goal is to complete a car in a day. If it carries me into the next morning, into half of that day, it's a day and a half. I think that question, depending on how
It
gouged each
varies.
dent is, I was just in Michigan and I was doing that and I was doing a car a day there and I was doing the R&I myself and that, 13-ish hour days. Um, so it all really depends. It depends what attitude you're in too. If you're in that attitude of you got to turn it up a little bit, you'll be surprised on how more efficient you work when your mindset, your trigger, the switch is on. If
Are
your
you a
switch
big,
is on medium, you're not going to perform well.
yeah. Are you a big music guy?
Music all day. That's my gauge. If I don't have no
That's it.
music, my
I'm the
switch is
same way.
halfway.
I'm the same way.
And I figured out that my music, my go-to music, is dance, EDM.
Okay. That
That
heavy pace, keep you going.
that gives me the drive. Sometimes I put on hip hop. Sometimes in the morning I'll listen to like some soft worship music. just to kind of get my spirit alive and
Yeah.
feeling thankful and blessed. And then by lunchtime, switch is on, and that's it. And I
Now,
don't, I just, it's the head down, my headset's on, and
yeah.
I talk at dinner, and that's it.
Now, are you if if you're teamed up with somebody, are you a roof guy or a hood and trunk guy?
There's not many people I've partnered with in this game. I've only tagged with 3 people. One of them was just giving it a shot on a gig because it kind of made sense, but it didn't. Slayer. But really, it's just Jose and Jesse. And we don't, our way of tagging is a system of one guy takes the fender, one guy takes the opposite fender, and we come down the sides, come up the rails. If it's a 3 panel on top, 3 top panels, doesn't matter which one's hit, grab the hood, start the roof. Guy knocks out the hood, joins me on the roof because the roof is super hit.
Yeah.
Whoever finishes takes the deck lid. It's not like, hey, he did this much, that means I don't have to do more, or his imaginary line down the car. We just have a process of coming down each side of the car, knocking out the rails. So starting from the fender back to the quarter panel, up the rails, top panels.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it's like,
we're tagging the top panels because they deserve it. You know, they deserve to be tagged. Either it's the hood or the roof. Decklets are very hard to tag, but that's kind of how I do it when I tag.
last time we had some good hail here. I had Dave-O in town, and he hated roofs, and I hate hoods.
Shout out to Dave.
I hate hoods and trunks, man. So I did every roof. He did all the hoods and trunks. It was like a perfect marriage, man. We crushed it that year, just
That's
locally.
It definitely when you're tagging, you have to mesh. You have to have that chemistry, because if it's not, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Same speed, same quality, same kind of mindset. There's a lot of things that factor in tagging. Are you a lunch guy? Are you just eat on your cooler while you're working with one hand, biting your sandwich and pushing with the other?
What are you?
I'm depending. Most gigs I'm eating with one hand and pushing. If I have a good gig, I'll take a quick lunch, but usually I bring it right back and I'm eating right away. Most of the time it's eating while I'm working.
Yeah. Yeah, getting that groove. I hate breaking that groove. When I sit, sometimes I've learned, like, if I'll leave and get something to eat and come back, I push like hell. I'm like, damn, what happened?
Yep.
So
Exactly.
what tips do you have for guys that are looking into chasing hail on the family end of it? What can you tell them to help prepare their family for what they're going to try to get into?
Well, for starters, I would encourage those that are dabbing at the fact of chasing hail and taking this on a different side of your PDR career would be communication and balance. Filling in your wife primarily on the plan. Hey, babe, this is the plan. Our plan is we're going to get out of debt. And in order to get out of debt, it's going to require dad and your husband to be absent time after time for a certain amount of months because we have a certain goal to meet. That communication would be key. Just saying, hey, I'm going to go chase hail and go dab at it with not really communicating to your partner can cause a lot of issues.
Yeah.
It could cause a lot of static, cause a lot of arguments, a lot of questioning your position because you didn't communicate.
Yeah.
You want your wife to be on board and understanding you're not only working to pay bills. That's what a lot of people do, but you don't just want to work to pay bills. You want to set certain goals. You want to be debt free. You want to open another business. You want to expand. That's going to take sacrifice. You want to let your wife know, babe, this vehicle may get us there. I'm not saying it's going to, but it may get us there. And this is what it's going to take to do it.
What is your future plans for Mr. PDR? Is it build enough, pay your debt off, and I'm out?
Well, thank God I don't have much debt. I I've been pretty blessed to take care of debt right away and IRS right away. You know, I'm not a big fan of holding credit cards, debt, and stuff like that. But besides one of my kids becoming an athlete or some huge inventor, um, I think I want to dab into real estate. I have other great friends that have developed some good real estate businesses, and I see a lot of good fruit in that. And you can never go wrong with owning land and property. I would love to get involved in that side of things, whether if it's full hands-on or vacation homes, rentals, getting that put on the side to generate either a quarter or half of my income, so that way I don't have to worry about generating full
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
PDR end of it. I do want Mr. PDR to grow. I'm that go-getter mentality of not just settling all the time for the norm. I do want my company to grow, whether that's bringing more people on board or taking up different avenues of how to market the hail side of things. Just different ideas and thoughts always crossing my mind when I'm pushing, trying to figure out the next move. I respect this game. I love this industry. I was brought up in automotive. My dad was an auto mechanic. I love everything about cars. I don't think I'll ever leave cars, whether if it's PDRing them or, you know, souping them up and making some exotic cars. You know, I don't know. I do
Yeah.
have that niche too. So I definitely want to do it as best as I can while I'm able to do it, while I'm physically able to do it, my hands, my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, we're blessed to be able to do what we do. A lot of people can't do what we do.
And it is hard on the body, you
Oh,
know.
dude, my back is killing me right now, to be honest with you.
You
I'm
know.
trying to sit up as straight as I can, but
What shoes are you wearing all day long?
right now I have Ultra Boost I have heel spurs. So I have these special soles that are about 125 bucks, and the Adidas Boost is, you know, 200 bucks. So I take care of my feet. Every storm I swap out sneakers.
Yeah.
Um, it's just my thing because of my problem with my feet. I'm also 6 feet. I don't know. I walk on my tippy toes, so that puts a lot of strain. So I swap out sneakers all the time. I usually stick to a lot of like cloud cushion on
Yeah.
the sole. I don't like hard rubber. I don't like air bubble just halfway around. It's either all the way around or not. Breathable.
Yeah.
But right now I'm standing on Adidas Boost.
Okay. Nice. You know, that was one question I always ask all the hail guys. What are you guys wearing? Because like I said, I don't know. We'll get one big hailstorm
Well,
here once in a while. So
yeah, and I just last season, I tried out Skechers, the most expensive one. I think was like $49.99. I mean, they're a one-time use. If you're
yeah.
on a 2 week deal, if you're on a 2 month deal, they won't last 2 months.
Yeah.
But they'll give you some comfort for at least, you know, 25 days.
I'll tell you there's a
Um,
big running store here. And my wife was like, you just need to go. Like I was buying shoes forever and like, man, my feet are just killing me. You know, I do a lot of roofs. So I'm on ladders and step stools and you know, I was like, it's just killing me. So I went to this place and they measure you for shoes and tell you exactly what you need. And I've got these Brooks, right? I've been wearing Brooks for a while, and
okay.
I get about 4 or 5 months out of them, and I buy 3 sets of a pair, 3 times every time I order 3 sets, and I get 3 or 4 months out of it. Trash, new set
Yeah,
on. You know, it is what it is. But and I know, like I can tell my calves and my feet. It's amazing how much shoes make a difference in your daily.
it's true. And also, I'm big on getting massages on Sunday.
Oh yeah,
I'll go
that's right. I
recon the
just saw
best.
that. I just saw that on your like Instagram story or something. You guys were riding scooters and then you got massages. I'm like, these guys are
Yeah.
living the life, dude.
Yeah, we were riding scooters. That was actually good times. But I'm big on deep tissue. So I try to recon the best place in town and schedule an appointment. I think, you know, just because of what we're doing with our bodies, a lot of guys don't. think about that, but I pop into deep tissue on a Sunday, 2 hour service, and it's amazing. It's a recharge for sure. Allows the blood to flow again, and all those sore spots that we tack on every day, especially if you're grinding really, really hard. If you're not grinding hard, I get it, but massages are definitely essential for sure.
So,
What's up, Ray?
Any tips you have for these guys? Anything out there that you want to just kind of let out of the secret stash, or
Man, what tips for the guys on? I mean, I look up to a lot of guys in our industry, and I learn from them. I check them out. I try to dab in as much as I can on Facebook. Educating yourself, not keeping your circle. If your circle is doing exactly what you're doing and nothing greater, you may have to adjust that circle. You want your circle to push you. You want your circle to push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'm reading Jimmy's comment, and I'm actually suffering that right now. It's funny you said that. Yeah. So I actually have my wrist brace in the restroom. I didn't put it on, but my wrist has been killing me this season. I think about 2 months ago I tweaked it, or yeah, just shy of 2 months ago I tweaked it. But my elbow too. I feel my elbow. My buddy Mike told me the other day, he goes, dude, you're getting old. That's what it is. I'm approaching 38 years old.
Young buck. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You're still young.
Yeah, young. Well, 38 years old. 3 beautiful children. 1 on the way.
Oh, man.
Going to be 18 years married this August. I got to live right. That's not what I have to live right. So, I don't know. I don't know if the body's. I hear it all the time from older folks that are in my circle. They're like, "Dude, you're gonna start feeling it. You'll see." And I'm like, "Nah, you do. You start to feel it."
Yeah.
I wish I could stay young forever and move well, but it's not gonna always be that way. So.
No, it's everybody starts getting some stuff. I get out of bed, I sound like a damn transformer. So
oh, that's me at night. If one of my boys are rooming up with me, most of the time we room up in hotels to save costs. I'm a transformer at night.
Yeah,
they're throwing pillows at me to stop snoring. It's crazy.
Well, look, man, I said this before. You're really respected in the industry, and you really.
I appreciate it.
A lot of guys look up to you, and you're doing a lot of good things, and keep up the good work. And you got a good crew. I mean, Jesse and all your guys. I mean, there's some really good dudes with you. So it's nice to see a group of guys kind of work together and keep it together, keep it that family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If that's one tip, that's something I would encourage guys to do. Golfing, yeah. Oh man, I suck at golf.
Me too.
I think grabbing arms with that friend of yours. I'm sure that there's guys that know other good guys that you kind of just always hit it off right. Just locking arms and doing it together. I think that helps in this PDR game for sure. You got to definitely lock arms. There's more power when there's not just you involved too. There's more hands, there's more ideas, there's more different ways. So definitely for those that are listening, if you're going to dab into getting involved into this hail journey, do it with one of your closest best friends that's already doing PDR, or someone that you can trust. Stick around them for a little bit, learn from them, and take a little bit of what they're showing you, and then adjust it and do it to your liking.
How can guys find you? What is your handles? As
far as
Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My business account is #1_Mr.PDR. I'm on Facebook as Joel Castaneda. Do have a Facebook business page. I'm not on Facebook as much as I want to be. I'm usually on Instagram a lot. I do a lot
Until
of
this
videos
week.
on Instagram. Until this week, yes. I do a lot of videos on Instagram. I haven't been doing videos the past, 2 weeks, I would say. I haven't been exposing too much of where I've been because I was told and I was signed a paper that I can't. So, yeah, I like to do a lot of Instagram feed, pictures, videos. I kind of talk to my audience a lot through Instagram more than Facebook for sure.
Now, I did see you using some cold glue on some rails. What's your thoughts?
The Glexo Go Cold Glue, I just used it today. Actually, I used it yesterday and today. In my opinion, is worth it. I know it sounds expensive because you think about the price. Oh, it's 175 or whatever it costs just for glue. But I tell you, it's already made me a lot of money. Um, you got to know on what size dents to use it on. I know guys use it on big stuff, and it does work on some shallow big stuff, but it can also work on some faint dime size, nickel size dents. Faint, not sharp, faint. You can fly through a rail using a cold glue and then just blending.
Yeah.
Versus setting a tab, lifting it up, tapping back down, sometimes lifting it up again. Cold glue
Yeah.
is the truth, man. I like it. I respect it.
Yeah. It's,
I got a second. I got a second juice hole slide hammer just for the cold glue.
yeah. Yeah. I've been using the 1 pound Kiko, and then I've been using the Kiwi, which is the bomb for the big stuff.
Okay.
But I've also using
Yeah.
the Kiwi on rails. I started using the Glexco hail tabs, and they're excellent,
Okay.
man. They really are excellent. I mean, they're good
I
size.
haven't got the hail tabs, but I definitely I should have just bought the whole kit, and we
Yeah.
just bought the glue. But right now I have it set on a different tab that I
Yeah.
bought years ago of some old glue. I forgot what it's called, but it's like a green and black saucer about this big, like $half size. That's what I have the cold glue set on right now.
And a lot of guys glue that into the slide hammer. Is yours glued?
Mine actually is it's a bolt head screw onto the
Okay.
saucer, so it slides right into my puller.
Okay. Okay.
And the cold glue's on the opposite side. So I did do that. I did do that in the beginning. I glued it. We were on a deal out in Mississippi, and it was just all glue pull, and that's where we got exposed to it. So
Yeah, I was the reason I said that is you said Instagram, and I remember watching one of your Instagram things when you were just like pow 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 pow, and I was like, okay. So,
Yeah.
anything else? Anything else you want to say to the guys that are in here?
No, just I'll go through the questions when we. I know there's been maybe some questions or people asking for advice, but I'll get to them when I can. And just want to thank everybody for tuning in, being part of Ryan's Dent Digest. It's a cool thing, Ryan. Thank you for what you're doing, man. I respect it. I enjoy it. Taking time, your personal time, to do this, featuring different guys, different amazing guys, different technicians, men and women. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's
I'm
been
glad to be
fun.
part of it.
It's been fun. And you were we were talking before and you were like, man, let me know. And then I had you on the quickie kind of, you were at home with Manny.
Yep. Manny put me. Yep.
And, just enjoy it, dude. I mean, there were a lot of people in here tonight and it's been fun. It's the only reason I do it. For me, it was just my thing, it just worked and I enjoyed it and wanted to do something different. And I'm going to do it as long until it gets like feeling like a job. That was my thing. I told my wife, I said, when I start feeling like, man, I don't feel like doing this show anymore, that's when I'm stopping.
Yep.
So
I will say this, for all those that are thinking, ain't no better time than this season.
Yeah.
And it's only not even July.
Yeah.
Right now, it's probably the strongest season I've ever seen in my hail career, to be honest with you. This is the best time to jump in because there's more opportunity to do so.
I get asked all the time. They're like, why don't you ever go chase hail? And I'm like, why? I'm lucky. I've got work all the time. So, you
Yeah, I
know,
mean, I know a lot of guys like yourself that has great establishments. There's no reason to,
it's
you
just
know?
hard for me to step. That's what I tell guys, you know, even insurance companies, they're, you know, and I'm like, I, I don't see a purpose right now. If this totally train wrecks and goes off rail, maybe,
Maybe,
but
yeah,
you know, but yeah, it's for me, it's right now. It's just my kid's getting older too, so it's only going to get harder.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
well, look,
yeah,
man,
man.
I really appreciate you coming on. You know,
Appreciate you having me.
it's been fun, and like I said, I like watching all my East Coast boys doing well, and you know, some good conversations. Like I said before, fuck, I mean, we talked for me, you, Jesse, and your other buddy. We talked for hours at the Hail Expo. We were just sitting there talking,
Yeah,
you know. So,
yeah,
but I appreciate it, man. A lot of guys look up to you guys, and really, you know, you put the money into certifying yourselves and getting all the certifications and doing the right things to try to be above the competition. You know, trying to do
hmm
the right thing, and education is seems like it's key with you guys. So
yeah.
it's nice to see.
Being set apart. That's the goal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, man, I really appreciate it. Um, you have a great evening,
Thank you, man. I'm gonna
and
go grab dinner.
do your thing. I know we talked earlier, and he's like, "How much time I have?" I'm like, "You got 30 minutes." He's like, "Oh no, 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 no." So
I'll grab dinner after. Yeah, so it's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna go have dinner. So sometimes the Hale Trail requires you to eat at 9 o'clock at night,
or don't eat at all, you know. So
or don't eat at all. I do have an ice cream in my freezer.
ice cream. Look at this guy.
Yeah. Haagen
So
Dazs rum raisin. Maybe I'll challenge that.
oh man, well, I appreciate it. You keep it up.
Thanks,
Hopefully
Ryan,
keep your
man.
family safe, and you know,
Yes.
keep doing your thing. And
Thank.
like I said, I wanted to make this show kind of for guys to understand, because I really think you do a good job. So
I
keep
appreciate
it
it,
up.
bro. That means a lot coming from you. Thank you.
Keep that chin up, and
Yes, sir.
we will talk.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Thanks, brother. Have a good evening.
All right, Ryan. Peace out, guys. Thank you.
Bye bye. What a great guy, man. Like I said, some of the best conversations are at those events. Mobile Tech Expo, the Hail Expo was a good time. You know, some of these different seminars and the tech meetups. And, you know, it's just you meet people and you click and you just have really, really good conversations and you remember them. And that's that part of networking that all of you guys need to really work on is get your network tight. Because if you are in an area and you get crushed, you know that guys are going to call and they're going to come help. So remember that. Keep it real. And I've got another guest from a different country coming on next week. So it's going to be an exciting show. He's been a longtime follower and a really, really good tech and really skilled. So I'm excited to get him on, and I'm going to have to surprise you guys with that one. But remember, guys, keep it real, and I'll see you on the next one. See you guys.